It is said that money is like oxygen. Well, money, finances is a recurring theme on the show because in order to make our dreams come true, we need money. And not only that, as women, we need to empower ourselves in the financial area of life. And well, that's exactly what my first guest will be talking about today. Hello, I'm Shannon Skinner, and welcome to Extraordinary Women TV. My first guest is Debbie Bullock. She is the founder of Women of Wonder Money Club, and she's going to be talking about financial literacy, and I'm so grateful to have her here today to share not only her story, but also tips and advice through her years of wisdom. Later in the segment, before we take a break, I'll have my regular Good to Know Minute. When I ask my guests for their top success tip, you'll hear Debbie's. In the second half of the show, we're going to talk about obstacles in the way to your dream and making your dream come true, and how you can remove them. So stay with us. Well, my first guest, Debbie Bullock. Hello, Debbie. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Shannon. It's just wonderful to be here.
Now, you're the founder of the Women of Wonder Money Club, which we're going to be talking about a lot today.
That's correct. Yeah.
And you founded this, this is new.
It's relatively new. It was a vision about a year ago. I've been in the financial services industry for about 12 years now, and started off just basically working with young families and helping them prepare for their children's post-secondary education. But what was a recurring theme that I noticed at that point was that, you know, all my young families really didn't have, they didn't know what they didn't know about their financial planning. And to be honest with you, I wish someone had come to me when I was in my 20s and my 30s, and you know, started me on the right path. And it's been sort of a passion for me. Education's always been very important. I like things to be very simple, and so what I have created is a money club for women, specifically because the financial services industry has been really set up with and designed for the way men learn. You know, there's PowerPoints, flip charts, equations, you know, for tax savings that, you know, when I see those, my eyes glaze over. And it hasn't been an environment where women learn in the way that they learn. We know, you know, men and women, boys and girls do learn differently. And what I've created is a money club, and it's more of, think of home parties for financial planning for women, or financial literacy for women. Imagine sitting around a dining room table, or just, you know, a table where there's like-minded women who want to confidently transform their relationship with money so that they have prosperity and choice in their life. And we share. There's always some structure, but also what ends up happening is that the women who are there ask questions of the experts who are in the room, and you know, a lot of times you don't know a question that's been asked before, and you think, well, I really needed to know that information.
Well, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly,
right?
That's right.
Well, you know, we're going to talk a bit more detail about the Money Club, but you mentioned something that was really interesting, is that women learn differently, or women, you know, certainly about finances. I mean, flip charts, you know, charts, Excel spreadsheets, that makes my eyes glaze over.
And mine too.
And that the financial industry has been really created initially by men.
Right.
For men.
Yeah. Is
that correct?
It's been predominantly that way. Yes. That's you
at
know,
least how it began.
That's right. By men and for men. There's been a real surge, though, of women who have gotten into the financial services industry and are continuing to. And the reason, you know, that financial literacy for women is so important is that 9 out of 10 women are going to be on their own at some point during their life, whether it's due to death, divorce, or by choice. And
9 out of 10 women will be on their own.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Which
that's most.
Quite staggering.
Right.
Yeah, quite staggering statistics. And the average age of widowhood is actually 56. A lot of men, when they hear that, they think, okay, you know, I don't have much time left. No. But it's true. And if the woman has not been involved in her family's finances, whether it's divorce or death, I mean, all of a sudden they're being thrown into an emotional situation that they've got to cope, as well as taking over the finances. And so if they're if there's a means that they're educated beforehand, or part of their family's financial health, then it's a much easier transition. For this, unfortunately, it's an inevitable situation that's probably going to happen.
So Debbie, I mean, you haven't always been in the financial industry area. I mean, there was a time where you realized that you yourself needed to know more about finances. I mean, what was going on in your life at that time?
Well, that's absolutely true. I chose to stay at home with my children. Had loved it, absolutely loved it.
Like so many other women in this country and around the world.
That's right.
Right.
And I had not been involved with my family's finances, and
so your husband took care of your finances.
He took care of it all.
Okay.
Yes.
Again, so that's very typical.
That's
Is
right.
It not? Yeah.
That's right. But what ended up happening, as I mentioned, I was just researching for my children's post-secondary education through RESPs. RESPs tend to be a maternal product, just simply because women are registered education savings plans. Yes. So I was researching it, and I ended up joining the company because I excuse me, I love the product so much, as well as what it was going to do for children, and what it was doing for the families in helping out. And so I ended up at that point as well realizing that I was going to be on my own at some time in the future through divorce, and so I knew there's a lot I needed to learn as well, and I thought, what better way to learn than by teaching it, which is often what happens in our lives.
Well, so when you had that realization, I mean, did it spook you, or was it something that instilled fear in you and, oh my God, I better do this or else? Or was it just motivational in that I really want to do this?
Oh, it was motivational.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, when you realize that, at some point you're going to have to be self-sufficient, and having been a stay-at-home mom, my career had been on hold for approximately 10 years. And this was a means for me to, number one, do something that was of huge value. It's something that I loved. I loved to teach, and I loved to help families. And so just started off with younger families, but then along the way, I realized that, there's a lot of women who shy away from even learning about it because there hasn't been a comfortable environment for them to be able to ask questions where they didn't think that, I'm supposed to know that already, because again, we don't know what we don't know. And so that's how the Money Club actually evolved, because I would be networking with women or meeting friends of my own, and everyone would ask, well, what do you do? And well, I do financial planning, and it's the eyes glaze over, and it's like, okay, how can I avoid this person?
Why is that?
Because people are not comfortable with their finances. It's something, I mean, we talk...
Is this right across the board?
Well, yes, and actually what's really quite interesting is that a lot of the women who come to my Money Club, they say, my husband needs to be here.
Right.
Because, yes, the financial services industry has been set up for men, but men need to have things explained simply as well, or be in an environment where they feel comfortable asking questions without thinking, well, I'm supposed to already know that. Women are much it's easier for them to say I don't know it, but again, there hasn't been the avenue for them to be able to get the information in a way that is fun for them. And that's what the Money Club is. It's in a fun, confidential, comfortable, and it's just a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun.
So it's social, and I think women,
exactly.
This is something that women is very important. We seem to be hardwired for the social aspect of life, socializing, nurturing,
exactly.
Building community. So, your financial literacy program seems to fit then work in the way women think and how we're hardwired.
Exactly, and women, as soon as I explain, again, the how to get rid of a friend scenario when I tell them I'm a financial planner, as soon as I say I actually, have a women's money club, think of home parties for financial planning for women, and instantly they say, I want to be part of that. So it's really, it's so overwhelming, the response that I'm getting from women. They want this, and they haven't had this way to get this information.
And do you get together then with tea, coffee, wine?
Whatever's going, yeah. But yes, there's always refreshments, and it's social at the start. Then
right.
We share, we introduce each other. There's focus. There's a topic for every evening, and then it ends socially as well.
So Debbie, we're going to pick it up after the break, and we'll talk more about the Money Club and how it works. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. This means it's my Good to Know Minute, and I know that you've got a great tip for my viewers, so jump right in there.
Well, the tip I have is that it's never too early and it's never too late to take control of your financial health. Where you are right now is your starting point. Be kind to yourself. It doesn't matter what's gone on in the past. Just have a goal and have a vision and take control of your financial health.
Well, thanks for that. That's good to know. Never too late, never too early to start financial planning. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more with Debbie Bullock, founder of the Women of Wonder Money Club. So stay right there. Quick event announcement before we return to my guest. International Women's Day is just around the corner. I've got an incredible event that you want to know about. It's called We Move Forward 2012 International Women's Day event, taking place on the Island of Women, Isla Mujeres, Mexico, March 8th through the 10th. And of course, Extraordinary Women TV is the proud media partner. I'm going to be there. I'm really looking forward to this. Would love to see you. There's an incredible lineup of speakers and storytellers, healers, speakers such as Wendy Cruson, Melissa Fung, Bal Arneson, and a number of others. It's going to be quite 3 days, inspiring 3 days of connection, community, growth, and storytelling. Again, I'll be there, and for more information, the website is We Move Forward 2012, and you can also find out more information on my website at extraordinarywomentv.com underneath the events section. So hope to see you there. Well, welcome back to the show. I'm speaking with Debbie Bullock, who is the founder of the Women of Wonder Money Club. We're talking all things money. Mm-hmm. Now, what does our relationship with money have to do with our childhood and our background? I mean, is there a connection in the way we're raised and how we think about money in the early years to how we actually think about money and our relationship with money as adults?
That's a really interesting question, Shannon, because you're absolutely dead on with that. The way we grew up, I mean, as not just with money, but emotionally and all other points of growing up, what you grew up with is very often either you're going to duplicate it or you're going to turn out exactly the opposite. For example, if you grew up where money was never an issue, and did people learn the value of money in a situation like that, and has that carried on in your life, or did you struggle? Were there fights, family fights about money and spending money, and has that made you very frugal, or has that made you where you just spend money like crazy because that's the opposite of what you grew up with? But you're absolutely right. How we grew up and everything that we learned as a child pertaining to money does follow through in our adult life, and it either puts us in a really good place or maybe not such a good place.
Well, a lot of people have a very negative view or perspective of money, almost as if it's not good to have a lot of money. There's a lot of artists, the artist's mentality, well, I'm going to do something because I love to do it, not because I want to get paid, or not because I want to make money, and somehow it seems to, for some people, when you add money component to it, it seems to devalue it in their minds or in their hearts. Do you see that across the board? I mean, do you see that quite a bit?
I think that you hit something there as well with women, you know, because women tend to devalue money as well. And what ends up happening is that because of that, they may not charge the right amount if they're in a business for their worth. You know, they'd rather do everything and say, well, that's going to come back to me somehow. But and unfortunately, you've got to value yourself, and that's the one thing about the Money Club is that we also deal with women's relationship with money. In fact, we do have speakers that come in and speak specifically towards that, just because you need to know how it is affecting you, and maybe where you are in your life the way you are right now, but also how you can change that. And that's the beauty of wherever you are right now. It doesn't matter. You can change your attitude, and you can change the way you think, and move forward, and have prosperity and choice.
So you have, with the Money Club, then you have guests that come in, you've got speakers. Women, are they charged sort of with homework that they have to take?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have what's called WOW Essentials. Basically, it's going to, everyone has to start at the same level. It's just the basics for financial planning. We determine what your net worth is, basically where you are. That's the starting point. And then people have to leave at that point and go and find what their number is, and find out, exactly where they are. Then they come back. And we don't divulge anything of personal numbers.
So it's confidential.
It's absolutely confidential.
So that members can be assured that if they're part of this, the Money Club, that anything that they say and share will be kept in confidence.
It's confidential, and we don't get into specific numbers either as well.
People don't like to share their financial information. I mean, I've heard it said jokingly often that there are two topics people won't talk about. One is sex and the other is money, and more often they'll talk about sex before money. Is that true?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And that's been my experience as well. And that's how the creation of the Money Club actually came about, because of exactly that. And I knew I needed to create and wanted to create an environment that was fun and comfortable, but yet still very confidential. So so they absolutely get homework, and then the other two parts of the WOW Essentials is they get Investments 101. It's just across the board, every type of investment, and understanding what it is and how you can apply it into your life. And then then it's Insurance 101, so that you know all the types of insurance that are available to you, because people just don't know what they don't know.
Right, we don't know what we don't know.
That's a recurring theme here.
Yes, that's right. Don't know what we don't know.
Exactly.
But how do we then change our relationship with money? I mean, if we have, as women, we're already set up in a way that how we think about money, what our relationship with money. But what is it that we need to do? Obviously, going to a Money Club like yours is a step. But what happens if there are women out there who don't have access to a Money Club? Maybe they're living in a smaller rural community and they don't have access, or they can't make it to Toronto. I mean, what can they do?
Well, there's always courses. They can attend seminars. Our website will actually be starting to do some training, online training. So there's a lot of things that women can do. The Money Club will be expanding very, very quickly.
Right now, you're based in Caledon, Ontario.
Caledon and the GTA area.
GTA.
Yeah,
Okay,
in April we'll be starting off in the Mississauga and Oakville, Burlington area. And it's just going to grow from there.
So, what is your URL if anyone wants more information?
Okay, it's www.wowmoneyclub.com.
Okay, so that they can get more information there. But You know, reading books, is that enough for us to really start changing how we think about money? I mean, reading investment books. I mean, every time I look at investment books, I think, oh my God.
I agree.
You know,
the other thing that you should do is to work with a trusted advisor who you feel comfortable with.
Yes.
Someone who you're able to ask the questions. There has to be a comfort level, and whether it's male or female, it really doesn't matter, as long as you feel that you're able to ask the questions and get an answer in a way that you're going to learn. And that's what I pride myself in doing, is being very simple. Explaining very simply and very patiently, and until my clients understand, and I know that they understand what I'm trying to discuss with them.
And of course, the Money Club, is there a cost or is it free?
There is a membership fee.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Because part of the Money Club is that we all have to value ourselves. So there's a very inexpensive membership fee. And what ends up happening is that if you want to create a club of your own, get your own group of people together, of like-minded women who also want to learn about prosperity and choice through their financial life, you actually get your membership free, because you're going to be the host. We'll come and we'll facilitate the Money Club for you. But the membership is absolutely free then.
And you actually raised something that's interesting, really important, that we have to value ourselves by paying for a service rather than making it free. Is really a first step, isn't it?
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we also have, if you have a friend that comes, you get a friend's referral rate. And when I was offering that to some of my clients, I had one client that said, I would have gladly paid the full amount. I'm so glad to be part of this. I get so much value from it.
Now, I know that you've got a couple of quick tips on how women can create financial security for themselves.
Well, yes, and basically,
go ahead.
Okay, basically, you need to know where you are right now. That's really, the first step. Find out what your net worth is, what your cash flow is. This is your starting point. The next step is that you also need to get educated. Okay, take some personal finance courses. Attend seminars. Join a women's money club if you have access to that. The other part is you need to learn to pay yourself first. Decide on a monthly amount that you'd like to set aside in savings every month, and make sure that that's the absolute first thing that you pay yourself first. Okay, you'll be surprised how things grow.
Yeah, and I've heard that said so often, pay yourself first. Is it enough? I mean, for some people who have a mortgage, they're homeowners and they have a mortgage, they see themselves as already paying themselves first when they're paying that mortgage, and they're actually putting so much money into a house. Is that enough, or do we need to also have, maybe they don't have the income to have RSPs, RESPs if they have children, and so on. Maybe a house is really their prime investment. Is that enough to be paying ourselves first?
And mortgages are kind of interesting, because there's such a thing as good debt and bad debt.
Yeah.
And a mortgage is actually a good debt. But what a lot of people think is, okay, once my mortgage is paid, then I can start my savings plan. But what they forget is that, okay, yes, but then they're going to have to put their kids through school. Typically what ends up happening, at the same time the mortgage is paid off, they're also having to put their children through school, and they're pretty darn close to retirement. So all of a sudden they think, okay, I've paid off my mortgage, I have a house, but I don't have anything set up in savings.
Yeah.
Now what? And so they have to remortgage to be able to put their kids through school or to fund their retirement. So you can actually be doing both at the same time.
Now, my understanding, the origin, the roots of the word mortgage is till death.
That's right. Well, there are strategies. There are strategies how to become debt free and to pay your mortgage off very, very quickly as well.
Yeah, that's a topic that often is big right now, obviously because of the interest rates.
Yeah.
Do you think that women are afraid to make financial investment decisions on their own?
Actually, I'd have to say no.
Okay.
Well, yes and no. There are a lot of very financially savvy women out there, and I can only commend them for having seen the light very, very early, and have had a plan, have done all the right things. Excuse me. But there are also a lot of women who, yes, they have been afraid to find out, and they haven't had the right environment to be able to find out the information. And it's really a comfort level of who you are working with, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Say, I really don't feel comfortable doing this on my own. I do need someone to help me out.
Well, Debbie, I'm afraid our time is up, but it's been really insightful to have you here today. Thank you for sharing your insights and wisdom. Again, if anyone wants to reach you, it's your URL is wowmoneyclub.com.
Absolutely. That's great. Okay.
Well, thanks again.
And thank you so much, Shannon. This has just been an absolute pleasure.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about how to unblock obstacles in the way to your dreams. So stay with us. And of course, for more information about the show, about my previous guest, Debbie Bullock, you can visit the website at extraordinarywomentv.com. I'm on Twitter, lots of places to follow me. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, you are going to make your dreams come true with this advice. So stay right there.